What's going on, my Cardano friends? It's your friend Jack here, and today I'm joined by the team at jpg.store, Shannon and Blake, and we're going to be talking about Cardano NFTs and all types of stuff. So with that being said, let's get into it. Do you guys want to introduce yourself? What's going on?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Blake. I'm the one of the co-founders of JPEG Store. I handle engineering and development. And
Yeah, I'm Shannon. I'm Blake's sister. We're siblings. I'm also the second co-founder. Yeah, we're kind of doing everything right now. So it's kind of
Jack
crazy.
of all
So
trades.
just hopping in where I'm needed, pretty much. But yeah.
All right, well, I guess the first question I have to ask you, because jpg.store has been a long journey, is how did you first get into Cardano? Going back a little ways, both of you.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
So yeah,
You were
great
in before
question.
me.
Yeah, so I think I first started looking into cryptocurrency around the beginning of last year and sort of had the typical journey where I started with Bitcoin, was playing around for that for a bit, like learning how the blockchain worked. Then I dug a little bit more into Ethereum and I sort of went down like the top 20 cryptocurrencies on Coin Market Cap and just sort of researched them one by one because I'm a software engineer by trade and kind of want to learn more about this new technology that everyone was talking about. And Cardano really caught my eye. I think just watching Charles' videos on YouTube, he's such a passionate human being, and he has such a beautiful vision for what this cryptocurrency can be used for. And that's sort of what drew me in.
hmm Yeah, and then he kind of brought that research to me and sort of he was kind of telling our whole family for a while like you should look into Cardano, like this is some cool technology. And so I started researching it on my end, and it was kind of a similar thing in that watching Charles videos and just his whole vision was very inspiring, and the concept of what it could do for the world on a whole really like pulled me in, and kind of changed my whole mind about crypto.
Yeah, I think same thing for me. I've looked at all the other cryptocurrencies and Cardano kind of just got my attention. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think mostly it was the whiteboard video, Charles' video. That one really stuck with me. Yeah, and then I know you guys have also been interested in environmental efforts, right? Is that something that also drove you to Cardano?
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
absolutely. So, yeah, me and my sister are both huge environmentalists, and I think the problem that we both want to tackle in our lives is climate change. And we so actually our first business that we tried to do was
Yeah.
it was on Cardano and we called it Nature Coin. And the idea was we wanted to build a climate change DAO that would sort of like bridge people together from all over the world to work on climate change. I guess taking a step back, like why this idea in the first place? I think there's a huge problem with right now with how our governments are structured, and we sort of have this issue where the rich and powerful have all of the control over society. Big corporations can lobby against politicians and regulations that affect their profits, and it's impossible to pass sensible environmental regulation in the current environment. And so, honestly, when I started looking into Cardano and this idea that we could actually rebuild governments using blockchain technology in a way that's more fair and equitable to everyone, it was unbelievably eye opening to me. And that's sort of like what initially drew me to Cardano. And then when we were building Nature Coin, it was really interesting. So we had this problem where um, environmentalists didn't really like our idea because they have like a negative perception of crypto.
Yeah.
Bitcoin and Ethereum both use enormous amounts of energy.
Yeah.
And so they didn't really like our idea. And then cryptocurrency folks didn't really like it either because we found a lot of them actually didn't believe or care about the environment. We had a lot of people saying climate change is a hoax, it's not real. And we sort of found our tribe in Cardano. There seemed to be people on the Cardano blockchain who really got it and could see the potential of what this technology could be used for and actually cared about the environment.
And we did find some passionate people on Cardano. There's a group called Cardano for Climate, and it's run by a really nice woman named Melanie. And yeah, we sort of found her through the
Project Catalyst.
Project Catalyst, yeah. And then started talking to her. And then, yeah, just the passion that people have in this community, as well as what it can do, like the technology itself can do, sort of changed my hope about climate change and stuff like that, because you go from this perspective of there's nothing you can really do about it as an individual to like we could actually rally as a community with this technology to make real change, and that's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't know about you guys kind of in your other projects. They mostly just think you just started with JPEG Store. But I think it is really cool to hear about how you guys have been working on other things too, and you've already done quite a bit on Cardano even before JPEG Store. But with that being said, how did you go from, Nature Coin all the way to JPEG Store? How did that happen?
Yeah, good question. So I was living with a couple roommates at the time who were building on the Solana blockchain, and they launched an NFT project that actually ended up being, at the time, it was, I think, top five NFT projects on Solana. Now it's maybe top 10, but they did really well. And sort of through them, I got exposure to the NFT space. And when I looked at Cardano, which is the blockchain that I'm the most passionate about, I sort of saw the NFT space kind of lagging behind these other blockchains.
Yeah.
I think the user experience just wasn't up to par. And I really care about this ecosystem, and I want Charles' vision to come to fruition. And so Shannon and I, when we were looking at this, we thought, Nature Coin is taking us a really long time to get off the ground, and we weren't seeing too much traction with what we were doing. So we thought maybe there's a chance here for us to pivot and work on something else for a little while. And obviously an NFT marketplace is like potentially very lucrative. I mean, OpenSea is a wildly successful business.
Yeah.
And we thought if we succeeded with JPEG Store, we could use the profits to help the environment, which is what we're really passionate about.
And not only that, like bringing more people into Cardano from the crypto ecosystem as a whole, from Ethereum and Solana itself, will grow Cardano, which is the whole thing that brought us here in the first place, was the vision behind Cardano. So if we can use this platform to grow it in a different way, bring more people in, and then redirect some of that capital back to our original goal of climate change, it sort of made more sense than continuing to push on something that we weren't really getting as much traction on.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, I'm glad you guys have came into the Cardano NFT space because I really do like everything you guys have put out. And JPEG Store especially is a very good standard, I think, for new users, and it's just super easy to use. I could go compliment you some more, but I really like everything that JPEG Store has. That being said, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's been overwhelming, honestly, like the community response that we've seen. Like people are just so positive and friendly. And we really need that some days because we're working so hard on this. It's been like every single day when we wake up from morning to night for months now, and at times it can get really overwhelming. So the positivity and friendliness that we've seen in the community is like just so appreciated.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys have a lot of the community's backing, and now I guess you guys have also a lot of team members. So I was kind of wondering, how many team members do you have now on JPEG Store?
Yeah.
We started with four of us plus so it was the two of us and then two designers that are also from Canada, and then we had a Plutus consultant, Jonathan, uh, from LL Conical. And so that was like the five of us kind of were the main people that started, and now we have 13 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our team page is really out of date. We're planning to
Yeah,
push a new
we have
version soon.
a local version of the shooting
It's
page.
crazy how fast our team has grown. We'll be at 16 next week. We're bringing on
16.
three more people.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
if anyone is watching this and is interested in applying to JPEG Store, please do reach out. We're usually hiring for talented folks in the ecosystem.
Mhm.
Damn, that's crazy. I would have never thought that. I don't think you would have even thought that your team would be 16 people big, just a few months after launching.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
been
it's
insane.
been
Yeah, and
absolutely
even
insane.
still with like 16 people, pretty much everyone on our team right now is working constantly. Like we just cannot keep up with the pace
Yeah.
that is going at. So yeah, we're constantly hiring. Yeah, everyone on our team's working super hard, and they've all been super helpful.
Actually, like, can we dig into that for a moment? I think a lot of people don't understand just how difficult it is to build something like this. I think at least myself, like, as a software engineer before I got into Cardano, I sort of um, looked at like startups as like, oh yeah, I could totally do that. Like it, but when you really dig into it, there's so much that you have to do well. It's not just having like the latest features. You also need like good design, good user experience, good feedback. You need customer support, marketing.
It's a lot.
You need to engage with the community. There's so many things that you need to do. And yeah, it's been nonstop for us since the beginning. And there has been times where, um, I mean, like we've had injuries because we're like sitting at the computer for so long, just working all day.
Yeah, we're starting to try and balance it a little bit more because in the beginning it was, yeah, it was
It was
crazy.
unsustainable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like just I think unique to this ecosystem maybe is the amount that like Discord and Twitter is used, and we really want to be getting back to everyone and making them feel like they can reach out to us if they have issues, especially creators and users and all that, but it's so hard to keep up with that constantly and still develop the product, especially in the beginning when it was like just the five of us. But now, yeah, we have Oxy and Doctor and people to help with support and outreach, and yeah, it's been game changing. They've been incredible, but yeah,
Yeah, we could not do this without our incredible team. Like
100%.
pretty much every person that we've hired is as passionate as we are about this ecosystem. Um,
Yeah.
Almost all of our employees we actually hired from the Cardano ecosystem directly. So
Mhm.
they've been in the CNFT space for a while and they
Most of them
see
longer than us.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they see the potential of where this can go, and it's
Mhm.
just so exciting that everyone on our team is like on the same page. Like we're going to bring about like mass Cardano adoption, and we're all so excited.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So, what is your main focus now for JPEG Store with all your newfound team members and probably a lot more team members coming on?
Yeah.
So our biggest focus is supporting artists, and that's pretty much been our main goal from day one. We launched with royalties, and we pushed really hard in the beginning because it seemed like the CNFT space was sort of unused to paying royalties.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you need to have to support creators because it's sort of their perpetual revenue source. And if they
Mhm.
don't have that, there's no incentive for them to stick around after a mint.
Mhm.
So I think like it really increases the chance of rug pulls when creators mint, and then there's no incentive for them to stick around, so they just leave. Whereas we've seen in other ecosystems like Ethereum, when they have this perpetual revenue source from royalties, they can keep growing and growing the community and do really cool things with it. And I think that's one of the only ways Bored Apes on Ethereum has managed to be this like worldwide brand at
Yeah.
this point. So yeah, we've been really excited to offer royalties for creators. I think we've paid out more royalties than any other NFT marketplace on Cardano, and we're going to continue pushing to support the artists who are really like the backbone of this entire ecosystem. We just announced our launchpad,
Mm-hmm.
so now we're taking applications to help like any artist really grow and become successful on Cardano.
Yeah.
We're going to start putting together resources and guides on how mint collections. We have a lot of exciting features planned this year that are primarily focused around supporting the existing artists in this community as well as drawing in new talent that's currently outside of the ecosystem.
Yeah, and when we first launched for a while, we had a system so that basically to be listed on our store, we would scrape the entire data of your collection off the chain, which allowed us to have property filters for each collection, which was something we really appreciated
Yeah.
about the user experience on our store. But that was also extremely time consuming and made it so we had this huge backlog of people who wanted to get listed, but we just could not get the data fast enough to get them up. And so we're really trying to change that now with like we launched unverified and we launched sort of a middle step where you can be verified but without
Trade
trait
filtering.
filtering so that we're bringing on and supporting as many people that want to create as possible, allowing them to trade on our store. They can get royalties without having to have the whole traits filtering funnel. And now we're working even more on making that whole traits filtering, getting verified faster and faster so that we can really support these people as much as we can. I mean, they're the whole reason we're here, and their art is building the community. So, yeah, we really want to support them in whatever ways that we can.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, in terms of JPEG store and growth, I know you guys have been growing pretty quick. So a question for you might is kind of relative to Cardano, really, in the growth of Cardano NFTs. But how do you think JPEG Store got big so fast? Because I remember when I started using it, or I tried to use it, just a few months back, it felt so weird. Can I trust this site? Is something going on here? But what are your thoughts on the recent growth?
I think there's like a there's a lot of things. So maybe to take a step back, you're right. When we first launched, we had been building in the dark for
Mm-hmm.
over a month.
Yeah.
And when we launched, we came out of nowhere. We made our Twitter account pretty much the day we launched.
We had like 7
We had
followers.
7 followers. And Shannon and I, we went into Discords and we're like, hey guys, we just launched our marketplace. And we actually got kicked out of
A lot
Discords
of Discord.
because they thought we were some scam. They thought
Yeah.
our site wasn't legit. Who is this NFT marketplace with less than 10 followers on Twitter? And no one thought we were legit. And we after a couple hours, we basically gave up and we're like, okay, let's go to bed. Maybe
We'll like try
maybe all
again.
this hard work was for nothing.
Yeah.
And we woke up in the morning to over 1,500 followers on Twitter and like people just
Wow.
flooding into our Discord. And what had happened was overnight, I think it was Clumsy Ghosts was the first collection to support us, as well as Oxy, our incredible social media manager on Twitter, actually posted a video saying, look guys, this is legit. Like they actually have smart contracts and it works.
Yeah, you bought something on the store and it was a
And
full video of
yeah,
what you
and
bought. Yeah.
that was the start of it all. And as to like answer your original question, like how did we grow so quickly? I think it really comes down to doing all of the little things correctly. So um, we Oxy has been incredible at engaging with the community and making sure like our Twitter and Discord stay up to date, and we're like posting regular updates as things happen.
Mhm.
We have an incredible customer support team, Doctor, Blue, and all of the guys. You can come into our Discord and open a support ticket and get help, usually within a couple minutes. Sometimes it takes us an hour or two, but like you'll get your issue resolved pretty quickly. We have our incredible designers. We try and stay up to date on engineering. And I think when you do all these little things correctly, it sort of accumulates into an overall product that is really enjoyable to use. Um, and then this sort of set us up well for Chilled Kongs. When that collection launched, I think that was the first time we saw a massive influx of users from outside of the Cardano ecosystem. There were folks from Ethereum and Solana who were like, oh, there's this new ape project on Cardano, and ape projects have done pretty well on the other blockchains. So, of course, it's going to do well on Cardano.
Yeah.
And they came to our site, and it was just like the other chains. You connect your wallet, and you're good to go. And I think when they saw Cardano actually had like a similar user experience, that really was when we started to take off.
And I think when we made a tweet about their royalties, or like how much royalties they had accumulated. And I think once people saw the effect that royalties could have when you really made all your sales on a marketplace that has royalties versus like a couple here and there, you might get a couple ADA. But when the whole volume happens, where you can get royalties, that can really be game changing for the creators. And I think when people started seeing that, it was, that snowball effect of just more people pushing their communities to list with us. Yeah.
Yeah, jpg.store seems to kind of put everything together that you'd want in a marketplace, I think, in a more seamless way. Like, I know you guys, no, I don't think many people realize it, but everything that is so simple is because you guys have thought it through and really put in a lot of time to make those things so simple for other people, and you've went back, fixed things. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm amazed by how simple it is to use this store. And I think people coming from other blockchains, they can easily use it now. They won't be confused. Why do I have to wait for my asset or something like that? It's very simple and straightforward, especially if you're from another blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Now, what drives you? You kind of already answered this a little bit, but if you want to expand on it, what drives you to work on JPEG Store and Cardano specifically every day when you wake up?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to we just want Cardano to succeed, and we want Charles' vision to come to fruition. Um, like, I mean, obviously, with any business, there is a little bit of a profit motive, and we want to build this incredible thing and be like, we built this. Like, guys, look what we did. I think there's a little bit of that, but at the end of the day, we've had days that are just so incredibly difficult that if that was the only motive, there's no way we would have made it through them. Um, yeah, there was a time in December, it was actually pretty close to Christmas, where I had been coding so much that I started to develop carpal tunnel in my hands. So I would rest my hands on my keyboard and I would feel so much pain that I couldn't even type. Like I could not type. And it really felt like I had hit a brick wall, because at the time we were still a team of like 5 or 6, and I was the only engineer, and so it felt like if I couldn't keep shipping new features, like that might have been the end of us, and it was just so so unbelievably like painful. And the only way I got through that experience was by like thinking about what I'm doing this for. And I think at the end of the day, it comes back to like we have some pretty like um we want to help the world, and I think our society is messed up in so many ways, and Cardano and blockchain is new technology that allows us to solve these problems in a way that they haven't been tackled before. And just thinking about like how much this could benefit the world like really keeps me going on those like dark days.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know people are curious, so I ended up getting a ergonomic keyboard, uh, and I started
Oh
doing
my.
some wrist stretches, and went to some physiotherapy, and I'm doing okay now. So
Much better. And we have more engineers now, so
yeah,
yeah. Not the only one. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think like the whole community has really changed my made me more hopeful. Like going back to what we were saying before about climate change and all that, and feeling a little hopeless in your ability to make change. And I think,
blockchain's all about community.
yeah,
And
it's
it's like
all
when we
about
come
community.
together, we can do so much more than we can as
And people
individuals.
have been so welcoming and nice. And like you go in Twitter spaces and people are all sharing their opinions and everyone's respectful of those
Yeah.
opinions and everybody wants to grow the community as a whole. And that sense of respect and just unity is so something I've never experienced before anywhere else. And yeah, it's just
And I actually don't know if other blockchains are like this. Like, I think the Cardano community in particular is like very welcoming and like sort of gets it. Like,
mhm.
they're like, this technology can be used to solve real world problems. It's not just for trading JPEGs, although that's what we're doing right now. But
Yeah,
in the long run, this technology is going to be game changing.
chain trade JPEGs along the way.
It's cool. Like, we're going to see a lot of like the governance decisions that we're making right now of like how do we effectively organize as a community that
Mhm.
will eventually extend into like real governments and like real political systems where people make um, much more important decisions.
Mhm.
And it starts here. So yeah, I find that really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you guys are here to wake up every day and be a part of everything that's going on in Cardano. It's awesome, and I'm glad that you guys are here. Really, it's I just like waking up and seeing new features, and I didn't have to do anything to make them, but someone made
Yeah,
them. People are always working on something, and it's
Hey,
awesome.
right back at you, Jack. I think you do so much for this ecosystem, and
for
we're
sure.
so busy. Like, we're just working every day, so really appreciate
We
you.
can't get the word out there as much.
Yeah,
But
thanks for giving us a voice and allowing us to reach a wider audience.
No
mhm,
problem.
for
With that being said, do you want to share maybe your favorite NFTs that you own? It can be one, it can be multiple if you can't choose one, but just to give some insight.
Well, I have a bias towards my lucky planet. That's a bunny in a astronaut suit. He's one of my favorites.
Fair
I
enough.
love Lucky Planet as a whole, to be honest. They make so many like one-on-ones. They're all unique and they're all custom. And yeah, the creativity for them is incredible to me. But there's a bunch.
There's so many communities that I love on Cardano, so it's impossible for me to pick a favorite.
For
The
sure.
current NFT that I'm repping is a Chilled Con. Not only did they do so much for our store in Cardano, but I also really just like the creator Deckard. He's an
Mhm.
incredibly talented artist, musician, engineer. He
Yeah.
does so many different things, and I really like the vibe of their community. They make lo-fi songs,
Mhm.
and they're just so chill,
Chill.
and I like the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, Ugly Bros too is doing stuff with music, and their creators are very multi-talented, super nice people. I think they're really gonna make some
Yeah,
game-changing
PlayNation
things
too
as
has
well.
a music pool. It's yeah, it's exciting to see what these communities are gonna do this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I'm
very
happy to
intriguing.
hear that you have some favorites, some interests. I think everyone's has their own taste, but there's so much to choose from now, especially high quality wise coming out. And I'm looking forward to seeing JPEG's Launchpad because that's pretty exciting. I think a lot of people that aren't the engineer side of things will be able to come on and make some awesome things for the community. So,
Yeah, that's
Sure.
exactly what we're looking for. Like, if
Mhm.
there's a really talented artist out there who just doesn't know how to mint an NFT on Cardano, like, that's exactly the type of person we like. Please apply to our launchpad because we
Yeah,
would
for
love
sure.
to help you like launch your first NFTs on Cardano.
I know recently there's been a lot of congestion on the Cardano blockchain, and you guys have felt that. I know you have. You even have a congestion or a network load on your website now. But what are
Mhm.
your thoughts on the congestion, and maybe how do you see this playing out in the next few months?
Yeah. I mean, it's a sign of how early we are to the space. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's a temporary pain.
yeah, telltale signs that like we're here early and the technology still has a long ways to go. I think you know, even in the current state, it's sort of like, would you rather wait an hour for your transaction to go through and pay $1, or would you rather use Ethereum and pay like thousands of dollars for your transaction to go through? Really depends how rich you are, right? So even in the current state, I think that the blockchain is doing well. We're now in the Basho, I believe it's Basho era of Cardano, where IOHK is purely focused on scaling the blockchain, and they have a lot of updates that Charles has alluded to in his videos. Hydra, optimizations to the Plutus compiler. We're going to see a lot of upgrades this year, and so I think by the end of the year, this is probably going to be a non-concern. I don't know
Mhm.
how much longer it's going to be like in the current state.
Mhm.
It's obviously very frustrating to users, so we're doing a lot of things on our end to sort of improve our UI and better reflect what's happening on the blockchain. We added that banner with the congestion. We also currently we mark transactions as failed after 5 minutes. But right now, some transactions are taking like hours to process. So we're going to keep them in like an impending state longer. And we're going to show users like more on our website, like how long things are taking, and just give you a better user experience, despite the blockchain being like very backlogged right now.
Mhm.
I definitely expect other blockchain like communities like probably on Ethereum and Solana are going to create a bunch of FUD around this and be like, oh, Cardano is the slow chain or something. But I mean,
No DApps.
we're going to get through it, and I think IOHK has done so much research that we're really set up well to scale this year. And I think we're going to get past these problems way faster than Ethereum will,
Mhm.
while maintaining our decentralization, which is crucial to a cryptocurrency. So
Yeah, I think things are gonna stay painful for a little bit. Soho Kids is gonna launch, Sunday
Sunday swap,
Swap's gonna
yeah, the
launch,
next few weeks are going to be rough, but
congested.
we'll get through it
But
as a community, and we're going to keep making UI improvements to our website that make it a little bit less painful to deal with.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, the UI on jpg.store, I actually was very impressed when I saw that it basically tells you very in depth about each problem that happens. Even though I've been using it in the past 2 days, and I've noticed that there's a lot of even technical things that teach users, what's going on, and I really appreciate that. I'm educating people to actually so they're not confused, and it's definitely very helpful for everybody.
I find what's really interesting is I read this article on different types of technology. So there's sort of like technology that's like version one to version two. Like sort of like blockchain is in that category where it's this incredibly complex like new technology that is very different than our old system. And there's other types of technology upgrades that are maybe like version 1 to version 1.1, right? Like you have a slightly faster computer, or like there's a minor upgrade. And it was basically alluding to when you have these major upgrades that are like version 1 to version 2, like a completely new system, um, it's really important to like actually not keep like old web patterns. So I believe OpenSea in their early days, they sort of hid blockchain from the users. And it's like you had no idea that you were using the blockchain. It sort of just like, oh, here's this
Tripping up.
picture for $5 US, and you pay for it, and like you're done. And you can
Yeah.
pay with your credit card. You don't even need to make a crypto wallet. And they actually weren't really doing that well. And it wasn't until they switched over and allowed people to connect their Ethereum wallets and made the prices in Ethereum and showed what was going on the blockchain, that's when they started to do well, because then people understood why this technology is valuable and like why we need to use it. And so we sort of follow a similar philosophy for JPEG Store where we try to yeah, basically educate the user and show exactly what's happening on the blockchain.
And Doc too, doctor who helps a lot in our support tickets, always brings up things that he constantly sees users experiencing and being like, hey, how can we educate these people? What can we provide in the UI that will allow them to see this without having to come to our Discord and be like, hey, what's going on? I'm lost. Like,
Yeah,
because we know, but yeah,
users might not know, so
yeah,
it's important we have like these warnings and
yeah.
stuff.
Especially in a moment where they need to know. It's like a great moment to educate them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question for you guys today, and that's going to be, what is your outlook on Cardano in the next 5 years?
Oh man,
It doesn't have to be too
so
specific.
bullish.
It doesn't.
So bullish. Do you want to take
Oh,
5 years, Cardano?
5 years. I mean, I think hopefully we're gonna see more of Charles' vision come to life on Cardano, see more of the I think in other more developing countries we'll start to see sort of that governance start to take place, hopefully. Um
Yeah, Ethiopia, they already are putting student IDs on the blockchain.
yeah.
So in a couple more years, maybe it goes from student ID is like your automobile registration to your house.
Hmm.
Then maybe we start to see small subsections of the government run votes.
Lots more
It's gonna
DAOs.
get more DAOs. It's
Yeah.
gonna it's gonna pick up quickly. It starts in the developing world, and I'm like could not be more excited for that.
Hmm.
I also think beyond just like the humanitarian aspects of Cardano, like there's so many dApps that are coming out.
Yeah.
Like, we have JPEG Store. I think there's 10 NFT marketplaces on Cardano. So there's like
Yeah, there's a
there's tons of dexes with Sunday Swap.
hmm.
I haven't start. I think the next wave is probably going to be DAOs. I haven't seen too many DAOs
Hmm.
pop up on Cardano
Yeah,
yet.
I think they're coming. Like
But
there's
that's
small ones right now.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Rats DAO to purchase NFTs. And I think in the next few months, we're going to start to see an explosion there. So
Hmm.
it's hard to see like 5 years in the future, but I think maybe the next year or two, we're going to solve the scalability issues. There's going to be tons of new decentralized apps.
Yeah.
We're going to make progress in Africa and other developing countries. It's like I could not be more excited for what this blockchain is doing because like really the core differentiator of Cardano compared to other blockchains is just like we're using this technology to solve real world problems, and I think that's what draws a lot of people in here
Yeah.
is it's actually helping people on the ground. So
And the whole process of going through Project Catalyst and voting for what you want to see is insane. So hopefully we see more of that transfer to other areas of life.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I was just thinking the other day, like it would be so cool if you could have a way of voting for things that you want to see just in your city, or like
Yeah.
things that you want to get done, you actually have a voice and you feel like you're included. And that's the sort of sense that I feel in the Cardano community. Like we hosted a Twitter space about a royalties issue we had, and everyone provided their opinions. And if we can set up a system where
That's
people can,
community focus.
yeah, and people can say their vote and get a real say in those issues and expand that to be in as many areas as possible, that's what I hope happens in the next years, coming years.
Well, thank you for your time, and I guess we'll hopefully chat soon, and maybe by then you'll have 100 plus people on your team. Who knows? Um, Thank you so much for coming. Anything you want to say before we go?
Love your videos. Thanks for having us on. Thanks for
Thank you, Jack.
promoting Cardano.
And thank you to the entire Cardano community who has been so supportive of us. And we're going to keep bringing you guys the very best. That's what we're here to do. So
Yeah, and take in all your feedback. So anyone who has ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
yeah. auctions, bundles, offers, mobile trading. They're all coming
They're all
soon.
in the works.
I know a lot of people want those. We're working on
Dark
them.
mode.
You're gonna have them soon.
You're gonna
Just stay.
sorry for your eyes.
Oh yeah, dark mode. That's coming. Just stay patient. Next few weeks to months, we should have all of those.
Yeah.
So
All right. Thanks for coming, and talk to you later.
Thanks. Have a good weekend.
yeah.